Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Stepping Up to the Plate. I'm your host, Michael Vega. So glad you could join us here for another half-hour scintillating sports talk. We'll be addressing all manner of football with some great games, some not-so-great games. And, of course, right off the bat, a shout-out to the Milton High football team with a tremendous 35-7 win at Framingham to go to 2-1 on the season. The Wildcats coming off a big home win against Central Rhode Island and going on the road, Bay State Conference affair. Patrick Collins coming into his own, gaining some traction with this offense. 2 touchdown passes and another 2 touchdown runs for the Wildcats. The Wildcats now getting some steam here. And congratulations to Coach Steve Dembowski and the Wildcats for a great win. The Boston College Eagles out, having a great win at home against Michigan State. Thomas Castellanos weaving his magic with a 42-yard touchdown pass to Lewis Bond at the end of the game to win it for the Eagles.
Big pass.
In a dramatic fashion, yeah. Mm-hmm. He's a dynamic player, exciting player to watch. Mm-hmm. But flip side, the Patriots on Thursday night laid a stinker. Al, that was hard to watch. Aaron Rodgers dissecting, vivisecting the Patriots defense every which way, and it was just hard to watch.
If you think about it, though, I mean, they were up against an old pro quarterback. The first win they had against Cincinnati, let's put it in perspective, Cincinnati's 0-3.
Yeah.
So maybe Cincinnati isn't the team that they thought it before the season started. So at least they won that game. The last 2 games have been really bad. This one here showed that they have a long way to go on the offensive line. And this is why they're talking about maybe playing May now. And I don't think they will. I think Jacoby Brissett. But you got to protect the quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, even last year, I mean, the kid wasn't a good quarterback, but they didn't protect him either. So,
no.
You know what? I think
I think his confidence was shot because of that.
Yeah, well, I think what's going to happen is we're going to see a team that we're going to struggle to win 6 or 7 games this year. And it is what it is. Yeah. I mean, I hate to say it, but I don't see, any light at the end of the tunnel for this team. They've got 3 or 4 games coming up in a row that they could lose all 3.
Well, this next one could be their best chance, I think.
Well, they've got a lot of guys out.
Because of the fact that they're going up against a banged-up San Francisco team that, all of a sudden Brock Purdy's back is hurting him. They don't have Deebo Samuel. They don't have Christian McCaffrey. And, of course, Brandon Ayuk, their high-priced receiver who held out and finally got his number, is not producing.
Yeah, but all that's going to tell me is that they have a better chance to be competitive, not win, because San Francisco's defense is going to destroy the Patriots' offense.
Yes.
Unless, of course, they can get some balance between the receivers and the running backs. Now, last week, none of the running backs played well, and they didn't go that much to the tight ends. So they had no offense at all. And that's going to be a problem this against San Francisco, because San Francisco's got a pretty good defense that could highlight how bad the Patriots' offense is. So let me put it this way. If they score 21 points, they could win.
Well, I thought that was the case against New York, because New York's defense was extraordinary. They're good. They had good coverage. They have a good secondary, good push up front. They put an inordinate amount of stress on that offensive line. Started 2 rookies at some of the premier positions. You also had the issue of the offense being ineffective and getting behind itself.
No time.
Yes.
No time for the quarterback to do anything.
And he was getting hit. He was getting hit. And you know what? That's going to start to take a toll. And I think that's when you have to break glass and go to Drake May. I don't think they need to be throwing him in there at the end of games like that. Let Joe Milton go in and do that.
Well, I think they probably just wanted to see what he could do in that situation. Now, you notice Jones last week, he goes in at the end of the game.
Oh, my God, yeah.
In the first play, I think he fumbled the ball.
Yeah.
And so, look at...
That was astonishing beat down on a Monday night by the Buffalo Bills over the Jacksonville Jaguars. And it's amazing, 3 weeks in, you're starting to see the fault lines on a lot of these teams. The Bengals. We thought we saw on the Ravens. We're seeing the Cowboys now.
Yeah.
We thought there was some issues there with the Eagles. No, they bounced back. We thought, right now we're seeing what's going on with the Patriots. The Dolphins now also have a fault line that the quarterback is
I think
out.
what you see, and every year, I mean, it's historical.
Yeah.
You can't judge anything off the first 2 weeks, especially the first week, because some teams play very well because other teams aren't ready yet, or, they're just coming off of a preseason. By the 5th or 6th week, you'll know who's going to make the playoffs and who's not.
Yeah,
Well,
they'll be on track, but look at last year, Al, as an example. Kansas City came out, they lost 2, and people thought, okay, the champs are gone, they're dead. They come roaring back to win it all. Now they're on track to three-peat. They have as dynamic an offense as any team right now.
Well, Kelsey's not playing very well, but
they still have speed receivers.
Oh yeah, I mean, they're balanced. That's a good team.
Yeah.
I mean, I would always say if they get to the Super Bowl, they win.
The reason they were in contention is Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, Mahomes.
Mahomes makes that whole thing go. And then they have a great defense, too. They have a really good defense.
They're balanced.
Yeah.
I mean, very few teams get there because they're a good offensive team and not a good defense, or vice versa. You have to have some balance. And look at the Patriots have no balance.
None.
They don't have an offense that is mature, and they have a defense that's fairly good, but not if the offense scores 3 points, like they did against the Jets, they're not going to win.
No.
They're not even going to win if they get 14.
No. It has to be at least 3 or more touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
to be in contention. Yeah.
It all depends. If the team has a veteran quarterback, they're going to beat the Patriots.
So right now, you look at the AFC East, Al, and you think, okay, the Buffalo Bills and the New York Jets. Mm-hmm. Those are the teams that are probably going to be vying for.
I'd take the Bills, but
you know what? Give me the Jets as long as there's a healthy Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
I like the defense he's surrounded by. I like those running backs he has. And I like the receivers he's got.
I got to see a little more of Rodgers because that's, he's coming off of
But Al, he makes all the right adjustments at the line of scrimmage.
I mean, he's a veteran.
He's seen
he knows
everything.
What he's doing.
It's kind of like having Brady. It's like having a Brady as your quarterback.
Buffalo's got probably one of the 4 or 5 best quarterbacks.
Well, he's athletic. He can break down your defense.
Yeah,
he's a Lamar Jackson type in that regard.
A little bigger.
You have to account for him.
Yeah.
On those situations, those downs and distances. But and then you have the Ravens too, who, with the MVP, go to Dallas, and all of a sudden now they're a running team. Al, oh my God, Derrick Henry. This is why they went out and got him. He's one of the few guys few acquisitions that has produced. You look at all the money that was spent, especially at Dallas. They threw big money at Dak Prescott. On the day he signed that contract, he laid the biggest egg of his career and wound up getting benched. CeeDee Lamb is revealing himself to be nothing more than a prima donna, And this game against Buffalo, the Ravens, revealed a lot about their fault lines on that team. And it made me wonder, is this where Bill Belichick's going to wind up?
No.
Would he want to go into that situation?
It's kind of looks like there's 3 or 4 or 5 teams that by mid-season are going to be looking for a new coach. So,
what are the other teams?
There's a lot of them out there. I mean, when we look at what's going on, you're going to say, what's going on with the Eagles? What's going on with Tampa? What's going on with this team? And Belichick is the type of guy that people are going to go, you know what? Guy's a winner. And he might be able to turn this thing around. Look at what the Patriots, you got a kid like Ramondre Stevenson, right?
Yeah.
If he had, and you got to remember this, that offensive line can't protect the quarterback. If it can't protect the quarterback, and the running back should be able to get through, he can't. He's not gaining the yards.
No.
With a good offensive line and that has pass protection and run ability, he would be 100 yards every week.
Al, here's a guy that I would be more involved in this offense, and this is kid Pop Douglas.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's fast. You can get him on the perimeter. If you can't run between the tackles, you got to attack the perimeter. You got to attack the perimeter some way, shape, or form to open up the inside.
I'll tell you though, Ramondre
You got to spread guys out.
Is not just a straight line runner. He
can catch the ball out of the backfield.
He's a pretty shifty kid.
How about those wheel routes? Get him singled up against linebackers, guys that he can gain separation
Especially if
from.
the team blitzes a lot. I mean, you could use this kid on a pro. I mean, if the quarterback knows what he's doing. But
well, that's the other thing. In Jacoby Brissett, you have a guy who has a veteran presence. I don't think he's going to be easily rattled. He'll sit in the pocket. He'll absorb the punishment. He's not going to get skittish, but he'll look to keep the play alive.
Yeah, but he can do the run-pass option, Jacoby Brissett. The problem is he's better on the run than he is on the pass.
Yeah.
He's not a terrific passer.
Yeah.
I think he's a good general. I think the players like to play for him, but he's better on when he runs the ball. I mean, he's a shifty kid. He's a big kid.
Yeah.
But now they're really struggling. I mean, if I looked at this team and said, what is the real problem? It's offense, and it's everything.
From the offensive line, the operation, the personnel, up and down.
Which takes a little heat off of Jones at all last year and the year before because they were the same.
Yeah. Well, and partly reason I think it was Belichick's. You got to lay the blame at Belichick's feet because he never settled the issue of his offensive coordinator.
Well.
And then he had Josh McDaniels, who Mac Jones was flourishing under. All right,
Well,
and then they make this decision.
He's playing better.
Well, at least he had some direction. I thought.
Yeah,
there was some direction there. Then he gets no direction from Matt Patricia, or Joe Jones or Joe Judge, and I don't know what they were doing to the kid, and what kind of conflicting messages he was getting. And then he was getting into games. And they were not getting the plays into him.
Well, I did two things with Jones, though. I mean, Jones was, A, not a great passer. 2, he didn't see the plays that well. He made a lot of mistakes, and he couldn't do a lot of things. So I don't think anything would have saved Jones. I just think
the problem with Jones was that his vision didn't go beyond that front line. I think he saw the linebackers, and that's it. He didn't see this. So a quarterback has to come to the line of scrimmage and look for the safeties and then look inward.
One thing I like about Jacoby Brissett, though, he's not a panicker. When he looks and he sees his guys are covered, he'll look to see if he can make a run. He's got to look at receivers coming out of the backfield a little better. But they are what they are. Let's be honest about it. I mean,
if they can get a decent amount of blocking, if they can get a decent amount of offense, if they can move the chains, possess the ball, I think that's all you can hope for right now as a Patriots fan. That they will possess the ball more than their opponent will.
Look at what BC has
and maybe
done.
They'll stumble into a touchdown or two.
Look at what BC's done with a great. Let me put it this way: above-level college coach.
Yeah,
and that's what O'Brien. He's a pro.
He brings
now brought.
Well,
structure,
right,
stability. And he
accountability.
Accountability, but he's also saying to these guys, you can beat anybody. Based off of the first 3 games, they can win it. They almost beat Missouri, sixth ranked team. I think it was 6th.
Yeah.
They played Michigan State better.
Yeah.
And so
they fought back against Michigan State.
Yeah, they got a pretty decent quarterback
in some pretty tough conditions. It was raining. Yeah. And they were able to complete passes. They were able to move the ball. They were able to create turnovers. And you know what? They were able to create belief.
Yeah, well,
belief in themselves and belief in their coach. And
Well, O'Brien got
belief
on
in the
TV.
program.
I thought what he said was the best. It's college football, and this involves the college community. The fans have to be involved.
Yeah.
And they are, and the alumni
Oh, yeah.
and the whole bit.
They're excited.
And they like what they see. I mean, I have neighbors that are BC grads, and they're excited. They go to every game now, thinking that it's going to be a good game,
Yeah.
as opposed to thinking, well, I don't think we can
yeah.
win this one.
Right.
But anyways, I mean, a little seg here in time to the Bruins. Well, we got a couple of things. The Celtics are going to be
Right. The Celtics are gearing up.
ready.
Well, this is the time of year, Al, where
This is the
you have
best time.
And it is. Fall is the best time because you have the confluence of all these sports. College football. You have, the
you
NFL,
got professional football.
obviously.
You got baseball coming down to the playoffs if it does. The Bruins starting, and you've got the Celtics. So you've got everything coming in.
Everything's coming to life.
Perfect.
As we were talking off camera about the Bruins beating the Capitals in the preseason game. They've got another one coming up against the Rangers.
Well, I thought the Rangers game was a bad game for the Bruins. But last night, there's a couple of things that I like and a couple of things I don't like about what I've seen. They're only playing youngsters.
Well,
Pretty
yeah.
much. Trent Frederick played last night. Brandon Carroll played last night. But still,
Lindholm.
Lindholm played.
Yeah.
I mean, so they're featuring some guys. But I'll tell you, Merkelov is going to make this team, I believe. Because, he's proven that he can do a number of things. He can score.
Yeah. Handle the puck.
And he can handle the puck. His pass to Brejo was a backhanded pass in front. All he had to do was put it in. I mean, it was not an easy shot, but I mean,
He made it
nice
easy,
setup.
though.
He made it.
Yeah.
And then I look at Fabian Lysell, who didn't have that good of a game against the Rangers because he wasn't active. Last night, his feet were moving. He was active. He came down on one play, almost beat the guy, but still got the shot off and it went over the net. He's got to get it on net on a situation like that because if the guy makes a save, you got to rebound and whatnot.
Yeah.
The other one, he was lucky Johnson was in front of him because he screened the goalie. I don't think the goalie saw it, and it went over the goal. It was a great shot, don't get me wrong, and he got it off quicker than he has been, and it went over the shoulder. But he made 2 or 3 back check plays that were acknowledged. I thought that was a good thing about Billy Jaffe in between periods and Brickley, who had indicated, watch what he did here.
Yeah.
He took that puck away on one and scooted down, almost scored, but he back checked. And the Bruins are checking better. This third, fourth line was checking all over the place.
And these are the younger guys that are
And
doing
then
this.
Sweezy made some nice hits, meaning he got the guy out of the play. So now you're playing 5-on-4, and he did it twice behind the net. He buried the guy there.
Yeah.
I thought Lysell took a cheap hit, but they showed it a couple of times, and it was what's his name from Washington.
Not Tom Wilson.
Yeah, Wilson. But he lined him up from about 10 feet, and he was down somewhat, and he's a tough kid.
Yeah.
But Lysell took it and come into the bench. And then this kid, what's his name, Aff or something, the Bruins defense, and Wilson were talking.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yes. Yeah.
And I thought something was going to come about on that.
Yeah, there was some pushing and shoving there.
Hey, you know what? They're going to play the Rangers down in New York next.
Yeah.
So having the Rangers beat the Bruins at home, I know it doesn't matter, but we'll see when he starts because there's 7 games. This will be the third.
Well, and it was a passing of the torch too in the broadcast booth with the new announcer Judd Surratt taking over. I think he was excellent on the radio, and he brings that energy now to the TV booth.
He announces the game. Let's put it this way. He announces the game, which is something that toward the end of Edwards' career, he was having trouble with.
Yeah.
And he says good things, okay? And so you have a pretty good sense, almost like a radio announcer, where you have a good sense of where the puck's going or why it's going there.
And it's funny, I detected like almost a subtle change in Brickley's kind of role there. Now he's settling back into
He's a color now.
The color commentator, whereas he was doing a lot
more
play-by-play.
He was
last
helping.
year. Yeah,
he was helping Edwards out toward the end, and I think that was good.
I think.
But I think what the Bruins, two things. Corpusalo played a pretty good game. He made a couple of big saves.
Yeah.
And they took him out, and DiPietro, I call him DiPietro, but he made one bad save. I actually didn't save it on the goal. I thought it was his fault.
Right.
The other one was the defense's fault.
Right.
I mean, so one goal. That's all.
Not bad.
And then Corpusalo didn't let any goals in, and so that was a pretty good showing.
Do you think that puts any more pressure on Swayman?
No, I'll tell you what. The Bruins don't win anything without Swayman because Corpusalo's a 30-game, good, decent goalie. Did you see what they said about him, though? He holds the record for the most saves in a game.
What?
7 overtimes, he saved 85 shots, Corpusalo.
That's a season for most guys.
Yeah, well, I mean, 85 shots, God.
Oh, my God.
I think Montgomery said it best, though. He was more impressed with both Lysell and Merkelov in terms of where they came from the second game to the third game. And this is what they want to see, is that each week in preseason, these guys learn what they need to do.
Yeah.
Okay? And I think Corpusalo said that he's thrilled with the goalie coach.
Bob Essenza. Yeah.
Essenza's the type of guy that is always. The Bruins have always had goaltenders that everybody go, who's he? Tuukka Rask, and all of a sudden Tuukka was the guy.
All of a sudden they're Vezina winners.
And they play well.
Yeah.
If you have a defense, which Corpusalo did not have before, like the Bruins have, he could be a really good 35 game
serviceable backup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If Swayman's not there, I mean, the Boozy, whatever you want to call him, he played a good game the other night.
Yeah.
Their defense is going to be what holds the goaltender in line.
Yeah.
Except Swayman can win a game when the defense doesn't play well.
Yeah.
But anyways, and then I switched over. My wife was watching Dancing.
Did you watch
with
the Red Sox?
Well, my wife was watching Dancing with the Stars, so
I did too.
Full reign with what we call the telecomando in Italian. I was going through and I watched the Sox. I was going to bet $1 million they were going to lose that game after going up 6-2.
Yeah, and then it
It was 6-3, 6-4.
Oh my God!
And then that guy walked 2 guys in a row.
Shugart comes in and walks in.
And I said, "Oh my God!" And
you can see the look on Alex Cora's face, like, yeah, I've seen this movie before. You know?
But you know what's a fascinating thing? I don't like the shadow guy in the 10th inning. I think that's stupid. If you don't like baseball, forget it.
Ghost Runner?
It's stupid.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think they were destined to lose that game last night. That's the game that this type of Red Sox team loses.
Yeah.
And then you look at they've got a kid at first base in the 10th inning. I never even seen him before.
Yeah.
And then they had Sogard at third. Story's a player.
And so is Von Grissom.
Well, Grissom at least had 3 hits last night.
Yeah.
But Story is, you know what he is? Is a professional. He's not only good.
So do you see a roster where you can have a Story plus O'Neill on the same roster?
You know what? I think they'd make a mistake. If O'Neill wants 4 or 5 years or whatever, he's not going to get it. He could get it someplace else. The Red Sox are cheap and they're not going to pay him for that.
Can you imagine that?
And they let right-handed power go. They need the right-handed bat. You got Casas that can hit left-handed. You got Devers who's a left-hander. Duran's a left-hander. They got Abreu who's a left-hander. I think they need a right-handed bat that can hit 30 home runs.
Boy, and can he hit them?
Well, when he hits them, you don't
They're gone. There's no doubt.
I mean, everybody's looking and going, where the hell did this one go?
I think the last one he hit at Fenway left the premises.
His history is that he doesn't play a lot of games. He played a lot more games with the Red. I'm not so sure you need him to run, and I'm not so sure you need him as a D. You can play him a little more at DH.
He could be your DH.
He could be a DH.
There you go.
And that way you might save the wear and tear.
So who then? Mazataka?
Well, no, the talk is Casas, because Casas's value's gone way up, and he's a left-handed bat, which the Red Sox don't need. So I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to trade him for a significant 1 or 2 pitcher,
Yeah.
which is what they really need.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at them, I think, what's his name, Houck's been their best pitcher when he's on.
Yeah.
When he's on. Bello,
And his downfall is he hasn't gotten the offensive
Bello's
support.
roller coaster. You know, you don't know where he's going to be, but
His command is suspect.
He's going to be a fine. He's a 2 right now. I think Houck 2. I think Pavetta's gone.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would do that if I could get him for cheap, and he'd be a 3 or 4.
And you
he
still
gives up
got
too many home
Garrett
runs.
Whitlock coming aboard.
You got Crawford. You got some guys like Whitlock and Crawford and place like that. That, you know, not bad, but not good enough to win.
You know, and here's the thing, Al. They deal Chris Sale to the Braves.
Oh, he's got 18.
18 wins. Right? We've seen that movie before. We're left to say, why can't we get guys like that? You know? But if he had stayed here.
He's playing, don't forget, he's pitching in the National League.
Correct.
That's a little different than pitching in the American League. Where
You got like an automatic.
Oh, yeah, you got an automatic there. So, but Chris Sale has always been a tough guy that had some bad situations, some self-induced.
Exacerbated by his own.
Yeah, some
his own
stupid
hand.
stuff.
Yeah.
But you know what? Every year, I don't look at the National League anymore, because when it gets down to the playoffs, the American League's going to win anyway.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see. There's the Yankees, the Orioles, you know, Astros, all strong contenders there coming out of the AL. You know,
a guy that I think could be available at the end of the year is Giancarlo Stanton. I think the Red Sox, if they don't get O'Neill, could get Stanton, because he's a right-handed bat. He does the same thing. He'll hit you 30. He doesn't hit as many home runs, because Judge is hitting, 55, 60 home runs a year.
I don't like his approach at the plate. I really don't. It's an either or. You know,
So O'Neill's
it's a
the
hit or
same
miss.
thing.
Hit or miss. I don't know. I think
He
O'Neill
strikes
has
out,
a more
he struck
disciplined
out more
approach.
than everybody
Yeah.
on the team, O'Neill. But he's hit 31 home runs. If you give me Giancarlo Stanton at Fenway Park, he'll strike out a lot, but he'll also hit 30, 35 home runs.
Yeah.
It's a 6 of one, half a dozen of another.
Right. So just stay with the guy you know, I would say.
I would, but I would have stayed with Schwab.
Well, we got some interesting games coming up. As we mentioned, the Patriots are going out to the West Coast to face the San Francisco 49ers. We'll see how they fare in that game, a big game for both sides, really. But, you know, it'll be interesting to see Boston College at home against Western Kentucky.
Well, you got the President's Cup.
And the President's Cup. We didn't mention that in our time, but we'll talk about that and more when we return next week here on Stepping Up to the Plate. All righty, everyone. Thanks very much for your time. We'll see you then.